Hi, my name is Stephanie Stevens, and I'm a planner with the City of Wheat Ridge Community Development Department. I'm presenting case number WZ-24-09, which is a request for approval of a zone change from agricultural to planned residential development with an outline development plan at 5225 Swadley Street. The property is located on the north side of West 52nd Avenue and Swadley Street, east of Tabor Street. The property is currently zoned agricultural 2 and is platted as Lot 12 of the Stanley Heights subdivision. The property is approximately 4.97 acres and currently contains 3 single-unit homes, 2 pole barns, and 2 detached garages, all built in 1937 and 1961. Adjacent properties to the west and north are incorporated into the city of Arvada. The adjacent property to the northeast is part of unincorporated Jefferson County. Properties within the city of Wheat Ridge to the south are zoned residential 2, and the immediate property to the east is zoned agricultural 2. Uses in the immediate vicinity include low to moderate density residential and agricultural. The site is located in the northwest corner of Wheat Ridge, but is just outside the boundary of the Northwest Sub-Area Plan, which covers the area south of West 52nd Avenue. The site is about a quarter mile from Wheat Ridge Ward's commuter rail station and within 1 mile of the Arvada Ridge station. The applicant is requesting approval of a zone change from agricultural 2 to planned residential development with an outline development plan to facilitate the development of up to 18 single-unit homes. The code allows for processing ODPs and SDPs concurrently or sequentially, and the applicant has chosen the sequential 2-step option. SDP and subdivision will come after ODP if approved. I'll go through the ODP document and then talk about the criteria of review and staff findings. The ODP establishes the planned residential district zoning. The ODP is 3 sheets in this case, which are in the staff report. The first page is a cover sheet with certification and signature blocks for property owners, planning commission, city council, and the mayor. It also includes a character of development statement, development standards, and other standard notes. The second page includes permitted uses and a conceptual layout of the property, including access, open space, and lots. The third page includes an alternative conceptual layout under the same standards. The ODP is a property-specific zoning document that establishes the underlying development standards, which would run with the land if approved and cannot be changed without going through a subsequent zone change process. The ODP represents a phased approach to development with 2 distinct planning areas. Planning Area 1 is to contain single-unit homes, while Planning Area 2 is to be reserved primarily as open space with allowances for secondary uses that are more agricultural in nature to complement the existing zoning and adjacent uses. As you can see on the slide, the plan proposes 14 to 18 home traditional neighborhood development. It's designed around a central linear open space to foster community, enhance walkability, and integrate smoothly with adjacent neighborhoods. For circulation, access enters from the east and west borders, connecting to a looped perimeter drive. This loop acts as a buffer while consolidating vehicular flow, pedestrian paths, fire access, and utilities, keeping most primary structures safely inside the loop. The entire perimeter will also be bordered by a 6-foot solid fence. Finally, to adapt to market conditions and resident needs, there are 2 layout scenarios. Scenario 1 consolidates Planning Area 2 open space in the center with potential for 2 single-unit home lots on the north end. And Scenario 2 splits Planning Area 2 into a central garden space between the homes, placing common amenities along the north of the drive. The final layout and amenity placement will ultimately be secured during the specific development plan phase. The development standards generally follow the residential 1C zone district standards in Wheat Ridge, with some standards borrowed from agricultural 2 to create a unique zoning framework. The intent is to locate uses in appropriate locations that are compatible with adjacent uses. For example, to the west lies a typical single-unit neighborhood in Arvada, with lots that are approximately 70 feet wide on the adjacent side. The adjacent homes within the subject development are proposed to be 100 to 120 feet wide on this side. Planning Area 2, which is proposed to be more agricultural, is sited to the north and or east, where adjacent uses are agricultural and residential. Perimeter setbacks are stricter than typical residential districts and match those of agricultural districts for this reason. Buffering is substantial where adjacent to lower density residential and agricultural uses. In the spirit of providing high-quality development through a planned development, the project also proposes on-site parking and circulation, increased open space, on-site detention, and architectural and design standards not typical of single-unit neighborhoods. The allowable uses in Planning Area 1 include single-unit dwellings to match those permitted in base residential zones such as Residential 1. Planning Area 2 is intended as an extension of Planning Area 1 and is primarily reserved as open space with accessory uses that could be more agricultural in nature. No dwelling units are permitted in this part of the site. Pursuant to City Charter, the density limitation for the site is 21 dwelling units per acre, resulting in a maximum of 104 units being allowed on the subject 4.97 acre site, where a maximum of only 18 units is proposed. While individual lots are comparable to the city's Residential 1C zone district, the overall density of the site is more comparable to the city's Residential 1 zone district, which allows 4 units per acre. The lots are spread evenly through the development with the intent of harmonizing with the densities of the adjacent neighborhood to the west. The proposed ODP aligns closely with development standards for standard residential zone districts. We're proposing a maximum building height of 35 feet, maximum lot coverage of 40% in Planning Area 1 and 25% in Planning Area 2, and minimum 5,000 square foot lots matching R1C district standards. Standard bulk plane applies and perimeter setbacks will match or exceed surrounding districts. The ODP matches base residential parking rules, including standard electrical vehicle and bike parking requirements and the ability to require guest parking at the director's discretion. Access will feature 2 points along 52nd Avenue to create a looped drive. This loop supports required utility infrastructure, fire access, and on-site circulation while pushing primary buildings back to create a generous setback from property lines. In early designs, the applicant proposed 1 point of access only from 52nd Avenue, but due to the strict need for looped utility systems, 2 points of access are required. The drive creates additional buffer from adjacent uses, resulting in primary buildings that are set back around 35 feet, even if setback requirements are less. Engineering has no concerns regarding traffic or drainage. Site-generated traffic will be minor, with fewer than 20 trips expected during peak hours. Full water quality and detention will be integrated directly into the linear open space using low-impact design practices. Full reports and analysis will be required with the SDP. The ODP exceeds city landscaping requirements, introducing a 5-foot buffer, solid side and rear fencing, and horse-safe fencing along the eastern border adjacent to agricultural. To ensure a cohesive yet varied aesthetic, the ODP also requires traditional architecture with at least 3 distinct model types, with lots along 52nd Avenue oriented toward the street for community integration. In all other areas, the project is proposed to comply with the zoning code, including but not limited to lighting, signage, fencing, and streetscape design. We use several criteria to evaluate zone change requests, which includes consistency with the comprehensive plan. A full analysis of the criteria for consideration of the zone change are provided in the staff report. The proposal aligns with the city's adopted plans, including the city plan, our comprehensive plan. The housing options allowed by the proposed zone change directly support the city plan core value to be inclusive and the principle of serving a mix of incomes. It also aligns with the desired outcome of peaceful coexistence by thoughtfully applying and calibrating form and use tools based on the features of adjacent properties. The city plan identifies this site as a moderate variety neighborhood place type, and it also qualifies as a special case agricultural reuse site. The plan specifies the appropriate application of use and form in this context. For this location, a wide variety of housing types ranging from single-unit residential up to multi-unit residential adjacent to 52nd Avenue are appropriate. The proposed site design responds to the form and design recommendations of the city plan. It incorporates increased setbacks that match agricultural uses to the east, architecture, bulk plane, and form requirements for compatibility with adjacent properties. Appropriate screening and buffering are included, and parking needs are addressed on site. Finally, the city plan includes an implementation strategy to support development to meet community goals. This includes reviewing the situation against regional housing needs. The DRCOG Regional Housing Needs Assessment shows that there is a clear need for additional market rate single-unit homes in Wheat Ridge. As a requirement of the zone change process, a virtual neighborhood meeting was held on January 23, 2024. 54 members of the public attended the meeting, and the notes from the meeting are included in the staff report. In response to comments made at the neighborhood meeting and in conversations outside of the formal process, the applicant reduced allowable uses in Planning Area 2, increased lot sizes to match adjacent developments, increased buffers and screening, and confirmed utility districts conserve. We sent the application on referral to service districts as well as completed an internal review. We did not receive concerns or objections from these agencies. Before the hearing, this property was posted for 15 days and letters were sent to property owners and tenants within a 1,000-foot radius. Comments collected on Wheat Ridge Speaks will be reviewed by council and entered into the public record. Planning Commission made a recommendation of approval at the hearing that took place on June 18th. City Council is the final decision on the request. Note that a zone change protest has been received and has been confirmed to be legitimate. This means that the zone change ordinance will require at least 6 positive votes by City Council for approval. Staff received 41 public comments ahead of the Planning Commission hearing, 39 of which expressed opposition, primarily from the adjacent Rainbow Ridge neighborhood. Over a 4-year review process, the applicant has made substantial revisions in response to feedback, reducing the unit count from over 49 down to 14 to 18 homes. Planned development zoning allows us to negotiate smaller individual lot sizes in exchange for significant HOA-maintained open space, preserving the site's agricultural character while keeping net density comparable to our lowest density residential districts. Neighboring residents have requested 3 specific conditions: a 25-foot height limit, a 15-foot landscape buffer, and a 7.2-foot tall fence. Staff empathize with their concerns, but recommend approval without conditions. Lower site grades place the 35-foot height limit very close to Rainbow Ridge's visual 28-foot profile. Furthermore, the proposed 6-foot solid fence and 5-foot landscape buffer already exceed what City Code requires between like-for-like residential uses. The requested 28-foot height and 7.2-foot tall fence are derived from Arvada standards, which do not govern Wheat Ridge. Wheat Ridge City Code caps residential fences at 6 feet and permits 35-foot tall heights in all single-unit zones. Imposing cross-jurisdictional rules as binding conditions could unfairly burden project feasibility. Detailed engineering plans to include specific details such as lighting will be fully evaluated during the specific development plan stage. While a formal protest alters the voting threshold at council, staff finds all legal criteria for ODP approval have been met. Staff have concluded that the proposed rezoning and outline development plan are consistent with the zone change criteria. Because the requirements for an ODP have been met and the review criteria support the ODP, a recommendation of approval is given. Ultimately, staff is recommending approval of the request with no conditions. City Council is the final decision maker on the request, and if City Council approves, the zone change is approved and the applicant can move forward with a specific development plan and subdivision plat. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.